Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Hazel Adams. Thank you for joining me today. So today's video is the second in a mini series of videos that I announced yesterday called The Great Shift. As I said in yesterday's video, the first one in the series, which was about the solar flash, we are in the event of the ascension of the human consciousness, the consciousness of the earth, and the part we play in the cosmos, actually the universe. The entire universe is in the state of ascension, and we're right there with it. I want to be very clear with you all about what the event is. The event is not the solar flash. And today's subject, 3 days of darkness that we've all heard so much about. The 3 days of darkness is not the event. The event is the switch, the rising of the planetary and the human consciousness out of one lower frequency bandwidth into a higher octave, a higher frequency of existence. And so it is actually the reset, a reset of flipping up into a different vibrational paradigm. The events that we've been talking about, the solar flash, the 3 days of darkness, are the physical expressions of that event. Those things translate that event into the physical. And there are many, many ways for these things to happen in our collective experience and for us to experience them even individually. There are many different versions. That's what we're here to talk about today. But it doesn't matter which version you vibrate with. The event is the reset. And if you are part of it and want to be a part of it, and of course you are, you wouldn't be watching this, it will happen regardless of which version of these events you vibrate with, you tune into and experience. Now, I'm not saying that these events, the solar flash, the 3 days of darkness, are just symbols. As my teacher Seth said, the symbol is the thing. In yesterday's video about the solar flash, I gave the example of the energetic truth of flow, the energy of flow, how in the physical world that we inhabit, one of the ways flow is expressed is in a river. Well, the river is not just a symbol of flow. It does symbolize flow, but it's expressing flow. It is flow in our physical reality. It's one of the ways flow shows up in our physical reality. So the solar flash and the 3 days of darkness are not just symbols. They are direct expressions of the reset. And they give us a way to know as physical beings in a story, in a construct, what we're experiencing, what we just experienced. It gives us a way to even see. It gives us a way in the physical world to experience how the reset happened. So in yesterday's video, I talked about the different probable versions, the most probable versions of the solar flash that may play out, and how we all have so much choice in how it plays out in our experience and how we experience it personally, all those things. Well, the same is true here for the 3 days of darkness. If you've been looking on YouTube at all, or reading literature, there are so many versions of the 3 days of darkness. There are differing versions of the earth splitting off into the new earth. Some channeled entities say that the split already occurred. Others say it's happening right now. Others say we're going to be going through it in the next couple of years. Which one is true? They're all equally true, and no one is true because it depends on which version you vibrate in. And in the case of the split, it does depend on what you vibrate in. If you're not completely ready to inhabit love, unity, cooperation, you may kind of keep a foot in the new earth and in the older version of the earth. If you're completely ready for that new reality, the heaven on earth, you may go right there, and that's the end of it for you. That's where you are. If you're not ready for that at all, maybe you're going to experience quite the difficulties for quite a while longer. But we're just saying all the versions are there. You are always the creator of your experience. You're always a creator of your reality. In a very real way, you are the center of your universe. So as with the solar flash, there are quite a few versions of what the 3 days of darkness will be, could be, might be, and they all come from channeled entities. So, again, which is true? What's going on? Why are they so different? I'll talk more about this in another video to come very soon as part of the series. A big part of why they're so different is there are many different probable versions of how things go, of the event. And depending on where the person channeling vibrates, they're going to tend to pick up the channel of information that's more perhaps apocalyptic and terrifying and violent than someone who doesn't vibrate there, who knows there's lots of choice and vibrates with a much gentler version of it. So that's why there are differences. Again, I'll talk about that in another video. I will give you what I pick up directly as my version, the channel of information that I'm connected to, and sort of a possible timeline. But let's go over some of the different versions that we're hearing from different channeled entities. There's one lady, I cannot think of her name, very, very sweet lady. She channels angels. And her angels originally told her, this was probably now 3 or 4 months ago, originally gave her this vision of this giant rift in the planet's mantle somewhere near India, and that there would be this plume of noxious, black, toxic gas that's very, very dangerous to health. And that it might hover somewhere over sort of the Middle East, Turkey, sort of between Europe and the Middle East area. Recently, she came across my YouTube page again, and her angels are saying that it's coming soon, and they're all saying that, but that it's coming soon, and that there will be seismic disruption, that there will be darkened skies, but not to fear, that we will be fine, that this isn't happening to hurt us, it's happening to help us lift into a different state, a different vibrational state. So they're definitely still predicting blackened skies and a seismic event. There's another channel, I think her last name might be Powell, I'm not sure, but she channels the Egyptian gods, one being Thoth. She talks about having visions of tsunamis and great rifts in the earth crusts and earthquakes. And I'm given that, yeah, there will be some of that. We're seeing it already, everyone. And as I said in the previous video, solar activity correlates very much with seismic activity in the Earth's mantle. We've been seeing ridiculous solar flare activity and mass coronal ejections. And so we've been seeing volcanoes coming active and earthquakes all around the planet. That's going to happen even more, I feel, over the next couple of weeks or so, not less. There are predictions from famous predictors from history, and I couldn't tell you now. Vanga, V-A-N-G-A. I don't remember now if Edgar Cayce is one who predicted, death and destruction, or Nostradamus. But there are predictions of these horrible earth-destroying cataclysms that wipe so many people off the planet, and particularly that blacken the skies with toxic, noxious gases and illness. I think Vanga said diseases. It's very, very dark and apocalyptic, and honestly, almost has to me kind of a feeling of like someone's liking the idea of retribution against mankind a little too much there. But all those things are possible versions. They're probabilities. And let me clarify, probabilities are different possible versions of an event that are burbling very near the surface. My teacher Seth called them incipient possibilities. In other words, they are there, they're real, they're possible in our collective consciousness. We always choose which one to vibrate with collectively, and also very much for ourselves. We don't ever have to be afraid of these different versions, but they exist in the quantum vacuum field of possibility, that 0-point energy. If the event is an ascension of the Earth, well, yeah, there are different versions of how that could look depending on what we vibrate with. Now, with that version of all the seismic activity and volcanoes and tsunamis and earthquakes, there certainly could be power outages, communications outages, sort of a darkening of our electric grid. And it could be widespread. That's a probability. It could be spotty around the planet. It could appear different ways. Also, volcanoes belching up the gases from the middle of the earth. Those gases are very noxious and toxic. So if there were to be a big volcano blow, the skies could definitely go dark for a few days. The air could definitely be not very good to breathe. If that happens in your reality, in your neighborhood, just don't be scared. Stay in, shut your windows. One of the apocalyptic versions has everything going dark, blacken your windows, and you'll hear screaming and wailing in the streets of demons. Again, that's people having visions that are very much based on what they vibrate in, what they live with. I find that to be nonsense. But if that's what they want to experience, then they're welcome to it. I don't have to vibrate in it, and neither do you. Arcturians always talk about things in the way that I learned to think about them from my teacher Seth. All the timelines are available. It depends on what you vibrate with. There's a much gentler timeline available. You have the ability to vibrate there in love and cooperation and unity, and everybody being okay and nobody needing to suffer horrible demises. We're not locked into anybody's predictions of how it's going to be. You are the creator of how it's going to be in your world, in universe. So back to the idea of power outages and communications outages. That could certainly be part of seismic disruptions on the planet. There's also a couple of the channeled entities have talked about an engineered, deliberate power outage to just literally shut everything down for a few days. And we go into sort of an electromagnetic reset so that when we come out of it, it's almost like a reboot on your computer. It's like you clear the circuits. You've been in this one vibrational band. You fire it back up, and now you've had an upgrade. You're in a higher vibrational band. Whether it's a deliberately engineered power outage or not, that feels about right to me, because that's exactly the kind of reset this feels like to me. And again, it doesn't even matter which version of how it happens that you go with. It's that we have the electromagnetic reset up into the higher frequency, the higher band. Whether there's a deliberate shutdown from some government trying to take over everything, or trying to scare everyone into thinking we're being attacked by someone, or whether it's a global power outage engineered by ETs to help us with this reset, or it's a global power outage because we are moving into the higher frequency and our systems can't handle it. Look what Spain just went through. The Caribbean is going through it. I don't know if you're aware, but evidently all over the planet, there are blinking lights everywhere. Lights in people's homes, lights in signs, and lighting around commercial buildings, street lights on highways and on streets. Everywhere you look around the globe, lights are blinking everywhere. It's because our electromagnetic bandwidth, our frequency is raising, and the current systems that we have in place are, I'm going to say, struggling at shifting to keep up. So I'll share with you my intuitive feeling about how this could all go. Again, when I say my intuitive feeling, I am plugged directly into not only my own higher self and higher guidance, but higher dimensionals, other dimensionals, the Arcturians, the Andromedans always pop up and say, the Andromedans. Yeah, well, we have lots of higher dimensional consciousnesses that that will feed information in when we are ready to receive it. And so here's my feeling about it. And I will give you my gut feeling about time frame, not specific predictions, nothing written in stone, but just my gut feeling about how this might go down for us. As I said earlier, I do feel that we are on the runway and having picked up so much momentum that we're just ready to lift off into this ascension. I feel in my gut that we are right on the precipice of the actual ascension event, which is all the channeled entities are saying that we're right there, we're right there. I feel that, and I'm guessing you probably do too. I feel like there will be some big seismic volcanic activity. Whether it's a huge earthquake that splits part of a continent or splits underneath the ocean somewhere, I do feel like we're going to have that. The lady who channels the angels said it's like the earth doing a pulse. I picked it up. I mentioned this in yesterday's video. It feels like a big, deep, in the earth construct, a big, deep breath in and out. And the out is into the higher frequency, the higher dimension for Earth and all of the inhabitants. So I am feeling like we'll see some major seismic activity and maybe quite a lot of it. There could indeed be a dark volcanic plume come from a volcano somewhere that affects, if not the entire planet, a large swath of it. If so, again, not good to breathe. If you're there, yeah, just stay indoors. I do feel that whatever that 3 days of darkness event is, it will be majorly disruptive to the whole planet. Whether communications and power goes out, and as one channeled entity said, and then all of a sudden videos showing the truth are coming across your TV screen. You know, there's all kinds of these predictions and probable ways we could experience this. But the thing is, I'm feeling like whatever it is will be disruptive to the planet, to where no matter who you are or where you are, whether you're directly affected and inconvenienced or you're just aware of it happening somewhere else, I feel like it's going to be something that if you're alive and not living under a rock, you can see that something huge, something sort of life-changing just happened on the planet, something paradigm changing. And I feel like, and I'm seeing magnetosphere. I'm given to remind everybody that we are electromagnetic. God consciousness experiences itself electromagnetically, and there are different levels. We've been at a very sort of low vibrational level, but we've experienced our reality physically electromagnetically. The higher reality will also be electromagnetic, but it'll be a higher electromagnetic frequency. But that shift from one to the other is going to feel and be disruptive to the actual electromagnetically expressing Earth, so that it can move into the higher version of itself. So again, I feel like it will be something that's undeniable, visible to everybody on the planet, no matter how you personally are experiencing it in your neighborhood, in your town, but it's something that you would be aware of and that would affect you either very directly or indirectly, but you would sure know about it. And I feel like it'll be a big enough deal on the planet to where this event actually brings the current system of the hierarchy, the power, the people in power with all the money, and how things have literally been running at an electromagnetic level with all the communication systems and the money and all of those things. I feel like things are going to like grind to a halt. Like that's going to be interrupted to where the old system, all this fighting and adversarialness and infighting, and I think of it as petty fiefdom, frogs battling in a pond for that lily pad. That will seem unimportant. What will feel important to everyone is, let's help each other. Let's support each other. Some of us need our help. Some of us are in trouble, and we all start pulling together as human beings around the planet. Like all the stuff we thought was important just falls away. We get it. It's not important. What's important is that we're here and we're humans and we love each other and we help and support each other. And as one channeled entity said, there may be some of our systems that actually go down because they cannot handle the new higher frequency. They're not at that electromagnetic level. If that happens, don't worry. There will be creative solutions quickly put into place and implemented to get us through. And as so many have been saying, there will be more community, really realizing how important your neighbors are, your town, your neighborhood, your community, everybody pulling together, everybody taking care of each other, kind of the way a neighborhood and a community does after there's been like a flood or hurricane. People come together. It's not every man for himself. People come together. All you want to do is help everybody. All they want to do is help you. It's going to be more like that. And also, as so many of the entities have said, don't worry, you will have what you need. Right now, as I say this, I'm seeing plenty. Don't worry, we'll have what we need. You'll have what you need. You'll be fine. But the old ways of doing things, the old fear-based corruption, power over, dominance, control, the whole structure that's been in place will have been broken, stopped. It won't be able to go on the way it was. Now, as all the channeled entities have said, you can't give a timeline because it depends on our consciousness when we're ready. As I said to you yesterday in the solar flash video, we're outgrowing our playpen. It's like we're outgrowing everything. We're busting out because we're ready for the next. We're ready to be in our expanded versions. This isn't working anymore. We've gone as far as we can go with it. Very honestly, we're tired of it. It's not creative anymore. We're just ready for an expanded version of ourselves. And these events, the solar flash, the 3 days of darkness, will give us the, sort of the clear breaking point of sort of like the way we all are now. There's like before 9/11 and after 9/11. It'll be before these events and the after these events. That's what I'm trying to say. The timeline that I keep feeling in my gut, as I said in another recent video, I'd originally been thinking that the solar flash type event might happen by the end of this month, because there is not only such a ridiculous level of solar activity, but planetary alignments, planetary geometry, major planets moving into other signs. I mean, it's a huge energetic time. And I will remind you, the planets are not imposing energy on us. They are reflections of where our consciousness is, where our energy is. So I felt like the end of this month might even trigger this and be the solar flash. But when I asked directly of my guides, my inner guidance, I got no, more like mid-June. And as I said in yesterday's video, the Arcturian entity Tia, channeled through the GFL station, has said pretty clearly that there's a good possibility the solar flash event will occur on or around solstice, that this year's summer solstice is huge. Here's what I'm feeling this morning when I inquired directly into it. I'm feeling like we're seeing more and more seismic events. The volcanoes, or some of them, are getting ready to blow. There's evidently a earthquake getting ready to happen off the coast of Oregon, although they say that won't create a tsunami onto the west coast. Gosh, I hope not. But anyway, I keep seeing and feeling that there will be more seismic activity here in the first week or two of June. I'm seeing June 7th, June 10th. I'm seeing activity, big activity in the beginning of June. But when I ask, will the solar flash happen simultaneously, I get no. It's almost like we have big seismic events that sort of get us out of, again, this petty who struck John, lack of resources, power, control over, all that petty nonsense. I feel like all that heightened activity that we may see in the first 7 to 10 days of June will be like sort of the wake-up call, like, whoa, all that petty fiefdom and adversarialness and fighting amongst countries and lack of resources and governments trying to gain control and all of those things. It's going to be like, none of that's important. We have bigger, more important things to think about right now. And I feel like I'm being given that it may be after that, maybe around solstice, that there is actually some kind of a solar event, no matter how it looks to you or me, no matter how it plays out, no matter how the collective describes it, or how much everyone is aware of it, or how we look back on it historically. But I'm seeing solar flare. I'm kind of almost getting the dates of the 12th through the 15th. But again, Tia said the solstice. So as I said in the previous video, it may not be just one event. It may be more like a series of larger events that are sort of a swarm that make up the event. I described it in yesterday's video as sort of like the finale at the 4th of July fireworks, where for about 10 minutes there's just all kinds of activity. It could be like that. And again, I am not making any definite predictions here. I'm giving you the energies the way they feel to me, the strongest probabilities burbling up in our collective consciousness as I feel and see it from my perspective. That's all I or anybody can do. That those possibilities, those probabilities are there. That is not a definite prediction that things will happen just this way. As always, energies change, information changes. You even listening through to what I just gave you will probably in some way shift what you were thinking as far as what's possible and available to you. That's a wonderful thing. So there you go. I'm sort of feeling you all updating and rising into a state already of, oh, right, I'm not locked into any one prediction or choice. They're all available. It depends on what I vibrate with, and I'm fine. I choose love. I'm fine. We'll be fine. So I will be doing 3 or 4 more videos in very quick succession as part of this series because it does feel urgent to me. It feels like information that that would be helpful to everyone now while we're going through this to help us all navigate through it. I hope something I said today was helpful to you. Please remember to click like and subscribe, share this video with other people so that others can see it as well. Please leave your comments and questions and have a most magical day.